We all pay money every month for products and services, but the question is there a surefire way to know that it's time to actually look around for a more frugal alternative?
In other words, it might be time to ditch and switch.
We pay monthly for everything from Netflix and Disney Plus to our monthly cell phone bill. And when we purchase those products or services, they filled a need for us. But oftentimes we get stuck in a rut and we don't look around and realize there are actually some great alternatives sometimes that could save us some money every single month. So if you have some budget sucking services in your life and you need some encouragement to make a change, then stick with us, because we think there are actually 10 surefire ways to know that you should indeed be searching for a less expensive, frugal alternative.
And we call this ditch and switch.
If you don't know us, I'm Hope.
And I'm Larry.
And this is Under the Median, where every week we talk about practical frugality. All right, the first surefire way to know that you maybe should be looking for a frugal alternative is that when you think about how much you're paying for that product or service, you feel uncomfortable. Sometimes a lot uncomfortable.
You know, it's easy to just go down the same path and walk in our comfort zone, but that isn't always the best thing to do, especially if there's some alternatives out there that can save you some money. So that's the very first thing. Are you comfortable doing what you're doing?
Now, the other thing to add here is that sometimes you look at the monthly fees and you're not terribly uncomfortable, but here is where the rubber meets the road. Take that monthly fee and multiply it by 12. That's going to tell you exactly what you're paying for that product or service every single year. And once you've multiplied it by 12 and you look at that figure, then that's when you kind of say, how comfortable do I feel continuing to pay that amount for that product or service?
The second way that you might know that a product or a service has run its time out is your friends are talking to you about a service that they are signed up with that they love and that costs a lot less than the one that you're doing. We had this very thing happen to us through another frugal YouTube channel where Prepper Princess mentioned having Mint Mobile as her cell phone service, and it was much less than what Hope was paying for her cell phone service.
I was paying $45 a month for my cell phone service. We switched to Mint Mobile. Really, guys, $15 a month. Mint Mobile is partnering with us for this video. What I really love about Mint is the fact that it was so easy to switch over. Took Larry and I 15 minutes flat to switch both of our cell phone services over to Mint Mobile. We used an eSIM card. Our son Daniel switched to Mint Mobile. He has an older iPhone, so he had Mint send him a free physical SIM card. We have the Mint family plan, which means that we can manage everything from one central hub, which actually is super nice. The other nice thing about Mint Mobile is the fact that it doesn't matter what level of service you pick, you're still going to get all the premium services, unlimited text and talk, 5G nationwide network, and you're also going to get some hotspot data, which we actually really enjoy having as well. Mint has a great deal right now. When you sign up with Mint Mobile and purchase 3 months, you'll get an additional 3 months absolutely free of charge. So now this is only good until the 15th of January. So if you're interested, you kind of want to hop on it right away. Here's where you can get all the details. You see our special link right down there at the bottom of the screen. You're also going to find that link. It'll be all the way at the top of the description of this video. You can just click on it and it'll take you right to Mint Mobile where you'll get all the details. So go and check it out. Remember, a friend told you to go check it out.
The third way that you might know that you've outgrown a service that you're signed up to is that you're really not using all of the features that come with that service. So maybe you're just using part of it or some of it. Let's take cable TV, for instance. Maybe you're just using a few channels. Maybe those same types of channels are offered on free services. Those are things you need to check into.
We actually, so true story, guys. We had Netflix for a long time, and recently it's gone now. Netflix is gone from our house. And we thought that we would miss it a lot. And the truth is we discovered Tubi TV Oh my gosh. It has a fountain of programs. We will never run out of things to watch, and it's absolutely free. Now, we did a lot of investigating. So if you're interested in other free ways, if you're looking to like cut the cable cord and ditch cable, then make sure that you are subscribed to Under the Medium, because later this month, we're actually going to do a video where we show you a lot of the options that we investigated to get free TV. So be watching for that video.
And as far as Tubi TV goes, what's kind of neat about it is it's a little bit like old-fashioned TV, like network off-air TV. Awesome amount of programming on Tubi TV. So check it out. It won't cost you a thing.
Okay, so enough about Tubi TV. To wrap up this point, remember, if you're paying for a product or service, make sure that you know what you're paying for and that you're using everything that comes with that product or service. Because if you're not, you might want to, go ahead, Larry, you can say it. You might want to
ditch and switch.
There you go.
Oh, I like that.
I know, he's really enjoying saying that. All right, the fourth way, the surefire way to know that you actually might want to look for a more frugal alternative is the fact, and we don't think about this, guys, the cost has slowly been creeping up since the time that we originally purchased that product or service. It's kind of like the whole analogy of the frog being in the pot of water. You slowly heat that water up and the frog doesn't even notice it. We have found that to be true. And all of a sudden we're paying what for that? And it's like all of a sudden it dawns on you how much that service has actually increased each year or each month since you bought it. You haven't even noticed it.
Okay, our fifth item in knowing whether it's time to ditch and switch is that you're really not happy with the service that you're getting from that company. Maybe it's just not on the mark anymore. Maybe they were at the beginning, and maybe they were providing absolutely stellar service at first, but they're not anymore. This is a time to rethink it and say, what are my alternatives?
I think this is another one of those examples of when we get just real comfortable and we don't want to switch just because we don't want that learning curve of learning a new product or service. But honestly, if overall you're not happy with that product or service, it's okay emotionally to let go of that product or service and look around for something better.
Our sixth point is that maybe you bought an older version of a service back in the day.
Yep.
And since that service has come out, there are newer and better services that do the same thing, but do a much better job and maybe offer a lot more alternatives. Let's take the example of going back to cable TV. Yeah. When cable TV first came out, it was a stellar thing. You could get channels from hundreds of miles away that you couldn't before, but there were still some limitations. Now, there's so many different alternatives out there that are free, or maybe you pay just a small monthly fee that might be so much better than what you originally signed up for. Now, that's just one example. I'm sure there are many examples of services that exist now that are so much better than the original one that you signed up for.
Here's the next surefire sign that you might want to switch to a less expensive alternative, and it has more to do with you than it has to do with the service. What happens when your financial goals change and that product or service and what you're paying for it is no longer in alignment with your current set of financial goals? I think it's always good to look at everything that is a consumer that we are purchasing and ask yourself, rather than saying, how much am I paying for this every month? Say, how is what I'm paying for this every month impacting the goals that I have for my life down the road? Because it's always super important to be looking down the road to figure out where it is that you want to be in another 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. You get the idea. So think about your products and services you're purchasing each month in relation to your financial goals and see if those still line up with one another.
Another element that could be involved in whether you need to make a change in services that you're currently signed up for, consider this. Your life changes over the years. When you first get married, there's a change. You first start having children. That's a major change. let's say maybe you've gone through a divorce or you've gotten remarried. Lots of different things. Maybe your children have moved on. They're out of the house and you're empty nested now. So maybe you need to reevaluate the things that you had during those times that you're still signed up with. Take a close look at those and say, do I really need to keep those?
Not only has your life changed, but it's possible that your lifestyle has changed, which has a little bit more to do with, for instance, how busy you want to be and how many of those things you want coming into the house. Let me give you an example. I actually have heard recently from some viewers that one of the things that they really look at in regards to like whether they're going to purchase Netflix is that their lifestyle, like 8 or 9 months out of the year, is definitely like outdoors. They're hardly in the house. They're busy. They're outside. They're doing things in the garden with family and friends, and they're not going to sit around and watch Netflix. So they actually don't have Netflix for that 8 or 9 months out of the year, but the only time that they actually purchase Netflix is 3 months in the middle of winter when they're stuck in the house. And there's a lot more time sitting around with maybe time to watch movies or series or whatever on Netflix. And so just consider your lifestyle in general and whether what you're paying for that product or service matches up not just with your life and changes in your life, but changes and the ebb and flow of your lifestyle.
You know, maybe your list of priorities have changed too. Maybe you don't want to watch as much television. Maybe you want to just simply read. Well, then, do you need all those services that you're signed up with? And there's just so many different things, so many elements involved in changes that can happen in your life. Maybe you've moved. And so some of the services that you had when you were at your former address don't apply to the one that you're at now. All kinds of things to consider.
Now, I know we keep harkening back to this whole idea somehow of cable and Netflix and Disney Plus, all that stuff. And it's just because like television is pretty much the perfect example for a lot of these different benchmarks that we're putting in front of you. But the truth is you can take the exact same thing and you can apply it toward any product or service you're paying for monthly and sort of match each of these points up to that product or service, and it works equally well. Now, something else you might want to consider in addition to your life and your lifestyle is whether you're just ready for something different. Maybe you've enjoyed having that product or service, but you're like, I think I might want to switch, not because you dislike the product or service, or maybe you don't even dislike how much you're paying every month for the product or service. You're just thinking, I need a little bit something different in my life. And that's okay too. That can be one of those surefire signs that we're talking about. It's okay to examine it internally and say, you know what? I think I'm ready to make a change and do something different. And it's okay to ditch and switch if you just want to have a little something different, and that's fine.
And as the old cliche goes, variety is the spice of life. We all like variety. We don't want to just be in a rut going down the same old road all the time. It's good to make some of these changes.
Now, the other thing we kept hearkening back to in this video is the whole idea of habits, a habit of holding on to a product or service longer than you should, or the habit of needing to make a change and looking for something more frugal. So it's a brand new year. And if you're looking for some new habits in your life, we actually have some really great ideas, 52 of them to be specific. One new habit for every single week of 2023. We did a video on it, gave you all 52 of them. That video is right over there, and you might want to take a look at it and get yourself some brand new ideas for a brand new year.